Last week was not for the week. I know many folks may have blown their accounts. Price literally ranged throughout last week. Let's hope price finally decides to move this week. In this week's analysis, we are going to be exploring two possible scenarios for the incoming week, starting with the US dollar index. As you can see, the US dollar index on the weekly time frame, let's go to the weekly time frame. On the weekly time frame has been ranging between this zone and this zone. I'm talking about between 12,616 and 12,980. You can see since price dropped all the way down to this zone, it has been ranging, bounced off here, came down, went back there, bounced off, came down, bounced off, and it looks like we are headed back to the top, right? So, however, if I scale down to the lower time frames, you will discover while I'm also looking at the possibility for a sell scenario. Let's go to the daily time frame. Now, on the daily time frame, remember this is the top line and this is the bottom zone that price has been ranging in between for a while now. You can see the price has been choppy, no real direction. But if you look at more recent price action, I'm talking about between here and here, like this, you will notice that price is creating lower highs and lower highs, right? You can see lower highs here. Sorry, this is the first high, this is a lower high, and this is another lower high. So what I'll be expecting for next week is two things, right? But before I go into what I'm expecting for next week, you can see that there was no significant price movement throughout last week. And that was why I said it was not for the week. Last week was not for the week at all. So you can see that this was Monday's candlestick, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Even if we go down to the 4-hour time frame, you will discover that the first highs we saw throughout last week happened on Friday. But when I go to the 4-hour time frame, we are going to see that. But what I'll be expecting for next week on the daily time frame is, as long as we sustain above this zone, this price zone here, you can pause this video. I use the Dow Jones Dollar Index, by the way. The broker is FXCM, so you can go pause this chart so that you can keep tabs also. So as long as we sustain above here, price will keep pushing higher. Remember on the weekly time frame, I said price may come into this price area here, which is 12,980, right? So price may break this trend line and come into the zone. However, if we see a massive rejection at this trend line, that may signify a bearish move to the downside. Let's go to the 4-hour time frame so that we can see things more clearly. So mind you, this is that zone from the weekly time frame. That's the 12,980. This is the trend line that we just saw on the daily time frame. If price comes into this zone, I will see a massive bearish rejection at this zone. That may signify a weak dollar next week. However, if we break above it, we may keep pushing all the way up to 12,980. But I forgot to mention something, so I'll just take you back to the daily time frame. So if price actually keeps pushing higher, breaks through this trend line and keeps pushing higher and come into 12,980 and still breaks above it, creating a new higher high above here, okay? If it keeps pushing higher and creates a new higher high, breaking above here, then at this point I'll be expecting a pullback and an impulsive bullish trend on the US dollar. All right, so this is my strong dollar scenario. If we blast through this trend line and blast through 12,980 and create a higher high, breaking above this high, just as you can see with this my diagram here, then I'll be expecting a pullback into that area around 12,980. Then I'll look for bullish confirmation to now trade all the way to the upside, into where I'm talking about, all the way to the upside around here. All right, so you can see that's a massive move up to the upside here. So a lot of space to trade to the upside. Let's go back to the 4-hour time frame. So now you've seen my bullish bias on the US dollar index. However, if price comes into this trend line and we see a massive rejection, right, a bearish massive rejection, then I will expect price to keep pushing lower, at least back into this zone or into this trend line. And what happens if we take out the trend line? Guys, if we take out this trend line, then I'll be waiting for a pullback and a massive sell-off on the US dollar. So we are trading at a very, very critical level here. I would even advise, if possible, not to trade for the incoming week. Let's see how the incoming week play out. So we can now go into upper week knowing the full direction of the market, and then as traders, what do? We trade in that direction. So this is my sell scenario. If we come into this trend line and we see a massive bearish rejection, and then price keeps pushing lower and take out this 4-hour trend line, or let me say counter trend line, then I'll be expecting a pullback, then a complete sell-off. But if we keep pushing higher, breaking above this upper trend line, then I'll be expecting price to come into 12,980. And if we break above 12,980, remember on the daily time frame, we must have created a new higher high on that daily time frame, right? And if this happens, then we expect a pullback into that broken zone and to trade all the way to the upside, just like I showed you on the daily time frame. So let's quickly take a look at some Forex pairs. Let's start with Euro USD. Since we've seen what is happening on the dollar index, let's see how we closed for the week. Last week, I called your attention to the fact that price is trading at this key level, and I won't be surprised if price push higher from this zone. However, price failed to push higher. We still close above that particular support, that strong support. Remember, this is on the weekly time frame, so it makes it a very, very solid support, right? And just like I did on the dollar index, I'll be looking at two possible scenarios. I'll be looking at the buying opportunity from here, and of course the selling opportunity down into this trend line below here. And if we break this trend line, guys, what happens if we break this trend line? Guys, we are going all the way down, all right? We are selling off Euro USD. That is if we take out this trend line. But let's go to the daily time frame so that we'll get a clearer perspective of what the market is trying to do. Just like you saw on the weekly time frame, you can see these two solid trend lines, one above and one below, right? And if you notice, price inside of this channel is still creating higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, right? So even if price keeps pushing down, which it looks like that's what price wants to do for the early part of next week, if it keeps pushing lower, then I'll be expecting price to come into this trend line to now give us a buy from that zone. But if this buy doesn't play out, and let's say price drops into this trend line, right, and breaks below the trend line, then guys, I'll be expecting a pullback into that trend line, and then for a complete sell-off, guys, a complete sell-off all the way to the downside, all right, all the way into the 0.9700 price area, all the way to the downside, guys. If we can take out this trend line, we are trending downwards, all right? Let me just delete all of this. Then let's go to the 4-hour time frame. The 4-hour time frame is going to open the chart up for us so we can see more recent price action, all right? Remember this trend line below, right? That was the trend line from the daily time frame that I showed you. Meanwhile, last week, I actually predicted that I would like to see price take out this trend line and take out this resistance here so that we can trade all the way to the upside, right? Because if you check out more recent price action, if I squeeze this chart all the way back, you will notice that price is in a bullish trend, all right? Since September last year till now, price is still in that bullish trend. So ideally, we should be trading in the direction of the market, right? And that was why I actually was expecting price to take out this upper trend line and then this resistance level. If we had broken above this resistance level here, then guys, I would have been looking for buys all the way to the upside. And I believe price would have played out perfectly. But if you notice, throughout last week, we traded between these two zones here. Let me even zoom in properly so that you can see what I'm talking about. Let me even try to trace where last week candle opened, or where last week's candlestick opened. This is Friday, the 4th of August. Then this is Sunday. This is Sunday, the 6th of August. So this was the first candle for this was the first 4-hour candlestick for last week, right? And as you can see, we ranged, we pushed down, we pushed back up, we pushed back down. You can see total mess, typical ranging market. So since price fell into this zone around the 28th of last month, price has been moving in between this zone. Here, there were some little fake outs that looked like, that made us think at the time that price was going to keep pushing lower, but price blasted back up and we've been ranging ever since. We took that range into this month, and so far we have been ranging on Euro USD. So we are at a critical level, at a key level. So we need to look for two possible scenarios. My buying scenario will be for price to push all the way up, take out this resistance, all right? Push all the way up, take out this resistance, create a new higher high, breaking above all these highs here. Then when I see this break, then I wait for price to pull back into that area, and then I look for buys within this area, right? I have a specific rule with which I execute my trades. So if you want to execute trades like me, because truth be told, analysis is one part of trading, execution is a whole different ball game entirely. So a good chartist can just open the chart and tell you price is going here and there and all of that, but executing the trade may be a challenge. So there are specific rules I look for before entering a trade. So if I see this play out, a higher high breaking above this resistance here and above this market structures here, then I'll expect a pullback. Look for that my specific execution strategy to join the buy from here and trade all the way to the upside. Now that's my buying scenario. What about the sell scenario? Now you may be wondering, what am I doing with this line you see here? Now, what I'm doing with this line, remember we are trading at a key area, right? An important level, strong support area. And no wonder we are ranging, right? Price is hesitating. Sellers are finding it difficult, pushing price lower. Buyers are also still like skeptical about jumping into the market and pushing price higher. So we may see that next week, or we may also see price continue pushing lower. So if I see this, that will be my bullish signal. But for my bearish signal, price has to take out this line you see here, which is 1.09376. So I would like to see price take it out, then come back for a pullback. Then it is inside this area I'm going to look for sells, all right? So if I see a sell here, I'm jumping into that trade and I'm holding all the way down to this zone or down to that trend line. Remember this trend line from the daily time frame I showed you earlier? Yes, let me squeeze out my chart so that you can see it. So now this is the trend line I'm talking about. It's cleaner on the daily time frame, so you can just rewind a bit so that you see what I'm talking about. So if price can come create a lower low here, let me even put a label here, a lower low, right? So if I see a lower low created here, then I'll wait for price to give me a pullback, creating a lower high here, all right? A lower high. So this will mean that price has taken out this strong support level, right? And the next support level is all the way down below here. So which means if price take out this strong support level, giving me a lower low, I'll wait for a lower high to be created. And it is inside of this zone I would want to catch this trade all the way to the downside here, either into 1.08527 or into this trend line down below here. So these are my buy and sell scenario, because we have to think in probabilities going into next week, right? If you don't want to get crushed in this manipulation going on at the moment. Now, the next on my list is GBPUSD. As usual, let's start from the weekly time frame. First of all, we want to see how we closed for last week. Guys, I want to call your attention to the fact that on this weekly time frame on GBPUSD, we are actually trading at a strong weekly support level. I'm going to show you in case you can't see it. Remember this zone, price rejected this zone. Remember this zone, look at how price bounced off this zone. Now check out this zone also, price bounced off. Check out this zone, how price bounced off. Also check out this zone, how price pushed, how price reacted to this zone, and check out these zones too, how price kept rejecting these zones to the downside. So what does this tell you? There's something interesting about this particular price area here, right? Why is it that each time price comes into that zone, there's some kind of a rejection? So now price is trading at that zone, and as you can see, it is only normal for me to expect a bullish continuation from here, right? That will be my first outlook on this pair. However, if price takes out this particular zone that has held historically, if price takes it down, breaks below it, then I'll expect a pullback that's a retest, then I'll sell all the way to this next level here. Remember, this is the weekly time frame. These are areas where I like to swing from. Imagine catching a trade from here. This trade will give me nothing less than about 70 to 80% on this trade on my swing account, because I'll be risking 3% on my swing account, right? Prop firms, I risk between 0.5 and 1%. Sometimes if there is a high probability trade setup, I can beef up my risk. I can put it at 2% to 3% also, right? But for my swing account, I'll catch a sell trade. If price actually does break below here, give me a pullback, I'll catch a sell trade and swing it all the way down into 1.21035. All right, but let's go to the lower time frame so that we can see more recent price action. Let's see things clearly. This is the daily time frame, by the way. And remember, in last week's analysis, price was trading around here, and I said I'll be expecting price to at least push into this area at some point. If you watch last week's video, this was the pair I actually started my analysis with. So I said I'll be expecting price to push into this area. Then if we break above it, fine. Or if we see a rejection, so be it. And price actually did. But if you also notice, price actually moved sideways. 1, 2, 3, 4. Sorry, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 active trading days for last week. There was no significant move up or down, right? So we also have a trend line here, just like the other pairs. It looks like price has taken out that trend line, but there are areas I would like to see price take out before I know that price is going to drop all the way to this downside for sure. But how can we see that clearly? Let's go to the 4-hour time frame. On the 4-hour time frame, last week, just like I did on Euro USD, I was expecting price, since we are trading at a key level, I was expecting price to eventually push higher, take out this counter trend line and this resistance level here on the 4-hour time frame, right? Take it out, then give me a pullback, then I'll catch a buy inside this zone and trade it all the way to the upside. However, that didn't happen. Just like the Euro USD, you will notice price basically just kept moving sideways. Price has been moving sideways since price dropped into here, which was around the 2nd of August. And ever since, price has been moving sideways with no significant move up or down. So just like I did on the Euro USD, this zone still remains my clean buy zones. Between these zones, I'm going to do nothing, except if you're a range trader and you know your game around ranging markets. Of course, by all means, execute your trading strategy as long as it works for you. But for me, I would like to see price take out this resistance here. You can pause this video, go plot this on your chart, on your 4-hour time frame. I'll wait for price to take out this zone, give me a pullback, and it is from inside this zone I would like to catch a buy. But for my sell scenario, then price has to come and take out 1.26068. all right, so I would like to see price keep pushing lower, break below here, give me a pullback either into here or here. Then I will now swing this trade all the way to the target I showed you on the weekly time frame. I'll swing it all the way down here on my swing account though, right? But on my prop firm account, of course, I'll take profits, rejoin the trade along the way on its journey to the downside. All right, so this is my buy scenario up here and this is my sell scenario up here. Remember what I did on Euro USD, right? I want to see price give me a lower low here, taking out this previous low, then go back for a lower high, and it is around that lower high I'm going to look for selling opportunities to trade all the way to the downside. So next on my list will be gold. Gold has been pretty messy lately, but let's try to decipher it. But before we continue, if you've made it this far and you are yet to subscribe to this channel, guys, please do so. Help this channel grow, guys. I would really appreciate that. And to all of you that has been supporting this channel in every way you can, you've been sharing these videos, you've been liking, you've been watching our videos, you are also subscribed, guys. I can't appreciate you enough. Thanks for the love. I don't take it for granted, guys. So just like we did on Euro USD and GBP USD, I'll be doing the same thing on gold. At first glance, guys, you notice that gold is finding it difficult breaking above this price area here, which is 2074. Am I right? That's obvious. Then on the second glance again, you will notice that price is creating higher highs, higher lows, higher highs. This could be a higher low for price to push higher. And of course, this price could break below here and push all the way into 1,800 region as our first level target. Both the buy and sell scenario is a possibility. In fact, the buy scenario is also a possibility based on how we closed for last month. You can see we closed with a strong bullish candlestick. However, this month, just 10 days into this month, has taken out all the old bullishness from last month, if there's any word like that, bullishness. Anyways, let's continue. So on the weekly time frame, price is still sitting on a major level. All right, we can't overlook that fact. All right, so even if price is going to drop, we have to look at two possibilities: buying and selling. At least if price is going to bounce off this zone and keep pushing higher, we want to know where to buy. And if price is committed to keep pushing lower, then we want to know where to sell. But first of all, let me point out this important level for you. You can see how price bounced off this zone significantly previously. Also, it happened here, right? And when price broke above here, you can see there was a kind of a reaction here, though it wasn't significant, before price blasted all the way to the downside. And on its way up, you'll see that price came there, gave us a rejection before breaking above, came back there, gave us a rejection. There's something that is making price react to that zone, which we don't want to overlook. And right now, price is sitting comfortably on that zone. Price had rejected those zones historically. So let's go to the daily time frame, right? Market structure wise, the weekly time frame is looking bullish, all right? But let's come to the daily time frame. I remembered a few weeks ago, I told you that provided the price fails to break above this daily zone, then price may most likely drop. Yes, price dropped, but it wasn't in the decent fashion that I liked. It was kind of choppy until last week when price dropped significantly. However, price is sitting on that our weekly strong support level that we've identified earlier. What is our buying scenario for next week? Guys, you have to be very, very patient to catch the buy if actually price is committed to pushing higher from this zone next week. So how do we get the buy? We have to wait for price to break out of this channel, guys. Break out of this upper trend line. And if possible, take out this price area, 1940 area, right? That's a round number. Allow price take out 1940. That's 1940, right? Break upward. Then a pullback into 1940 area will be a decent place to catch your buy from. So it is inside this zone we are going to catch the buy, and our next target will now be here. All right. So this is my buy scenario for gold, since we are sitting on a major support level on the weekly time frame. You know, you don't overlook levels that happens on a higher time frame because they have a high probability of holding. However, the overall or most recent trend of the market is super bearish. So what do we do? Where do we sell? All right, just like I did on the other pairs, for this one, I'll be waiting for price to actually take out these zones here. All right, take out these zones. So what I would like to see is for price to break below here, below this market structure here, break below it, come here, give me some kind of a pullback. Then I'll trade all the way into $1,800 for gold. So this will be my sell scenario here, and this will be my buy scenario here. You can pause this and go plot this on your chart. Now the next on my list is AUD/USD. AUD/USD, guys, I don't even have any bullish buyers for AUD/USD. So if AUD/USD starts going bullish next week, I'll just abandon it and go look at other pairs. All right, I just want to consider the bearish side of things on AUD/USD, bearish side and bearish side alone. Oh, I forgot to mention how many pips I'll be looking for on the other pairs, but let's just keep that. On AUD/USD, I'm looking at a potential 288 pip drop starting from next week if price decides to drop. All right, if price decides to drop. But let's look at the weekly time frame as usual. Let's start from the weekly time frame. It is obvious that price has been falling for the past couple of weeks. Over 4 weeks now, since we're on the weekly time frame, each of these candlesticks represent 1 week of price action, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks, price has been collapsing, and I'll be expecting that collapse. It also looks like we have a double top on the weekly time frame. That's massive, right? Now let's go to the daily time frame. On the daily time frame, you can see how price has been respecting these trend lines above here. We've seen 3 touches, price drops, and now price has broken below this lower trend line, leaving us with a double top. Also, the neckline has been retested. The only thing standing in our way is this support level here on the daily time frame. So if price can take out this support level, then guys, price is dropping into 0.62000 level, right? And that will give us about 288 pip drop to the downside. and that's a decent move to the downside. Now let's go to the 4-hour time frame. On the 4-hour time frame, like I said, AUD USD, I don't want to look at the bullish side of things at all at the moment, because AUD USD, NZD USD are super bearish, right? GBP USD and Euro USD are the ones that looks to be going higher, right? So because of that, I'm not looking at the bullish side of things on AUD USD. So that was why, remember, I said if price starts going bullish, I'm just going to abandon AUD USD and focus on other pairs. So for next week, it's pretty simple. I'll wait for price to take out this zone, give me a pullback, then I'll catch a sell if it aligns with my execution strategy. Remember, I said I look for specific patterns before I jump into a trade. I don't just jump blindly because my lines say so, because price could easily break below here, now break back above and keep pushing higher. So that is why I have a rule-based strategy with which I execute trades. All right. So if we can break below, get a retest, and I see that my entry is in win or lose, I'm going to execute this trade. And when I execute here, then I'm going to hold on my swing accounts. Of course, my prop firm accounts, I'm going to close much earlier since I can hold for extended period of time. But on my swing accounts, I'm going to swing and make all these 288 pip move to the downside. I'm definitely going to add more positions along the way if need be. All right. So for this week, I'm going to be stopping here. And if you are yet to subscribe to our channel, please do so now. And I love you guys, and I wish you a successful trading week. And also, before I forget, if you want to learn how to analyze your chart easily like this without any stress, you want to get our program, all right, just go to letstrade10x.com. All the informations you need are there. And if you also want to know how to execute trades, because like I said earlier, analysis, anybody can do analysis. Execution is where you make money. You don't make money on analysis, you make money on execution. So if you're struggling to know how to execute trades, if you're struggling to develop a rule-based strategy, at least you can get a head start from our mentorship programs. You can try to implement mine. You can backtest it for all I care to see how it performs before going on to implement it in a live market environment. All right. And if you're also not interested in getting our programs, it's totally fine. So just leave us a like on our videos, share our videos, at least help this community grow. And I am honestly going to appreciate that. Thank you for staying to the end of the video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.